Hi guys, and welcome into my channel. Thank you so much for tuning into this video today. Today's video is going to be about the spiritual benefits of eating less. I'm going to be talking about all the different things that eating less and eating light can do for you when it comes to enhancing your spiritual awareness. So without further ado, let's just get straight into what we can learn about the spiritual benefits of eating less. Okay guys, so I really hope that you can hear me through all the noise. Hopefully it's just sounds of nature, because today I do not have my microphone because it doesn't plug into the phone that I'm using. So for those reasons, I will try to project my voice so that the quality of sound can still be really good for you guys. Nevertheless, let's get straight into it. So when we're talking about being able to heighten your awareness spiritually, it really does impact not just one layer of your life, okay? It impacts multiple layers of your life. So we have to look at this holistically. So when we're talking about being able to tap into our spirituality on a holistic standpoint, we're really talking about the foods that we're eating, what we are putting inside of our body, how are we nurturing ourselves, from the elements that we're putting inside of our body, from the materials that we're putting inside of our body, and from the energies that we're putting inside of our body, the emotions that we're putting inside of our body, the outside interferences that we may be consuming inside of our body and not knowing, things that we cannot really see with the physical eyes, things that may be metaphysical, okay? This all has to deal with a makeup of who we are physically, and that also impacts our brain, which also impacts our level of focus. It impacts our ability to hold our attention. And in order to really be spiritually aware, you do have to have the ability to center yourself. You have to have the ability to know how your center feels, so that way you can be in tune with self. And that is spirituality. That is the consciousness, right? This is not your conscience, but it is the spiritual consciousness. This is the makeup of, this is love. This is what it is, really. So let's talk about the foods that we're eating. The foods that we eat definitely hold on to information. They're holding on to energy. And if we're eating foods that are meat, and we're eating foods that are dairy, we're eating all these foods that don't have any light force inside of them, they don't have any energy, then that just basically means that we're eating dead food. So eating dead food, not only is it not going to give you any fuel, but it's also going to not really nourish your body, because you're just eating a dead animal, or you're eating a dead particle. So yes, this video I am going to mainly be talking about plant-based, because plant-based is just the way to go if we're talking about a food source that is going to help for you to tap into your ability to be spiritually aware of self. So when you're eating these foods that are filled with life, that have been fueled by the sun, that have been fueled by simplicity, that have this balance where they don't need much to grow, they just need all the elements inside of nature, or some of the elements inside of nature, and they are absorbing this magical light source, because they are absorbing the sun, and the sun is fuel. This is vitality. But also it is working in a way where the fruits and the vegetables, when we eat these types of foods, these type of foods are simplistic in the way that they live life. So they're holding on to a much more balanced state of being. We're not going and eating something like a animal which had all of these different layers to the makeup of its mind. It's not to say that plants are not intelligent. It's just to say that when it comes to animals, their level of the burdens that the animal is carrying is a lot more higher. The emotional intelligence that the animals have are ones that can carry more lower vibrational emotions. So when we talk about emotions overall, this is just energy in motion. This is just information. All of these different things like emotion, energy, information, communication, vibration. It all is really just the same thing. It's a frequency. So the frequency that is being carried inside of a plant is not really ever going to be something that is angry. You're not going to see an angry plant. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to see an angry plant. So when you eat this plant, you're not going to receive anger, right? The plant may be poisonous. It may be a plant that could, harm you, but we know what to eat and what not to eat, right? But what I'm saying is, as far as the makeup of the plant, it is not holding on to grief. It's not holding on to anger. It's not holding on to attachment issues. It's not holding on to all of these burdens and negative low vibrational frequencies like you can get from an animal, right? So with that being said, when we take in this simple type of foods, not only are we getting our fuel, but we are also getting higher frequency of food. And if we're feeding our material body, so our physical body that has weight to it in this physical realm, if we're feeding it with high vibrational foods and fruits and vegetables, then that is what's going to be the makeup of our cells. That's going to be inside of our bloodstream. That's going to be inside of our makeup of who we are physically, which is a piece of the puzzle to the holistic view when we're talking about connecting with yourself from a place of love and spiritual awareness and being able to be more intuitive, being able to be more tapped in with self. You have to eat love. You have to put love inside of your body. You have to make sure that your body is at a higher vibrational frequency, and eating these foods can definitely do it. Now, there may be outside interferences, like, for example, there may be outside interferences, like, let's say you eat food that's very nourishing for you, fruits and vegetables that, are taking in a lot of the sun, whether it's because they're growing really high up to the sun, or whether it's just because they're inside of a really sunny climate that it takes for the plant or that fruit to grow. Either way, let's say you're eating high vibrational foods, like foods with a lot of energetic energy, that have a lot of electromagnetic frequency inside of it. So it is heightening your frequency and making your frequency very powerful and very, full of energy, full of life. You're eating life, so you're going to be life, right? So let's say you're eating all this stuff. But then on the other hand, there are outside interferences that could still happen. Like, for example, maybe you go through something traumatic emotionally. Maybe you face some type of loss, or maybe someone just argues with you, or you get triggered. Anything could happen outside of the foods that you eat. But here's the beautiful thing. Because you're eating these foods that are raising up your vibration, you're gaining more clarity mentally. The cells, the blood that is pumping up, into your brain, into your heart, into your womb, into all these different bodily locations that carry its own significance and its own function, emotionally and physically. It carries its own function. All these different things inside of our body are being pumped with so much high vibrational frequency that we will be able to continue to still have drive, to continue to still move forward, to continue to still keep pushing. So your ability to move forward from a low vibrational type of experience is also heightened, because the center of yourself, you at your original state, is going to be you at a state where you are mainly higher vibrational, and you'll be able to center yourself into that. But if you're eating a bunch of dead food, if you're overeating to the point where it's taking so much for your body to process this food, it's taking more energy to process this food than the energy that your body can be able to take from the food. So it's just an overindulgence of food. that the human body doesn't need that much food. If you're eating 3 times a day, right, and you're eating 1,200 calories a day, then you're taking up more energy to break that food down. So that also plays an effect, is how much food that you're eating. And the more food you're eating, the more energy you're taking to break down that food. And the more scattered your attention is going to be, your level of being able to focus, your level of being clear, because you are a scale at the end of the day, right? Your body wants to be in balance. And when we're talking about being in balance, we're talking about a state of nothingness. We're talking about a state of nothingness where there is this love that is within you, where this is the center of you regardless of what's going on, right? And we think about it like Ma'at. You guys, I made a video about Ma'at already, and this type of information is going on around, you know, America, is going on around the globe, around the world, because this is just ancient knowledge that is coming up. Some people like me are just getting these messages, these downloads, and at the same time there's so much information out there that you see that it's just that a lot of people are getting this information all at once, because this is where the collective is moving towards this type of lifestyle, which goes hand in hand with the age of Aquarius, or, you know, the phenomenon of precession being in the Aquarius constellation. Okay, coming into balance is extremely important when it comes to bouncing back from a traumatic experience, right? Making sure that you don't lose yourself inside of a situation, making sure you don't lose yourself inside of a relationship and wait until it's too late before you realize that relationship's not for you, or making sure that you don't act out of character, right? But if the only character that you know to act like is something of low vibrational frequency, then that's what you're going to consider your center. But if you're eating these high vibrational foods and you do the work for self to heal yourself, to heal your wounds, to heal your shadow self, to heal your triggers, and to just evolve, right? No one's ever going to be perfect, but you can always be a better version of yourself. And if you're doing the things to be closer to loving yourself and spreading that love outward, then you will be able to move forward out from negative experiences and traumatic experiences better. Now, when it comes to doing that, it requires coming into balance. And coming into balance requires grace. And I'm speaking from a personal opinion, personal experiences that I've had in life, and also from more of a feminine type of principle, because of what I've experienced in, you know, relationships that maybe weren't the best for me, or, you know, just toxic family members, just different experiences that I have experienced through life that I'm still healing from. Grace is something that really, really, really plays a big part when it comes to balancing it out. Because if we think about Ma'at and we're thinking about her as the scale, just gonna let that helicopter go by. There's Ma'at right there, right? This is actually an equinox. So if we're thinking about Ma'at and we're thinking about her, she is a personification of a scale, and she is also the personification of duality. But, you know, giving is receiving. She's also the personification of karma. And basically, with coming into center and coming and being centering yourself, it's going to require grace, because a scale is going to have to be at some type of grace in order to make sure that they are receptive to the weight that is being put on either side of it, right? The scale isn't trying to control the weight. The scale is literally grace. The scale is grace. When the weight is put on one side of the scale, even if it drops, it's still gracefully. It's grace, right? So it requires grace to come into center. Now, when you come into center, you are at a peaceful state. And when you're at a peaceful state, you're balanced. And this is more so from a balanced perspective, not just, oh, heavy on one side and imbalance. It's more so from a balanced perspective. So this is very important when it comes to finding your center. We can also talk about angel number 0 inside of numerology. When it comes to number 0 inside of numerology, this is nothingness. This is the source. This is consciousness. This is love. This is spirituality. This is your spiritual path, right? It all comes together. So really understanding that there's a neutralizing aspect or a neutralizing state that one needs to be in, and that neutralizing state should always be a place of peace, should always be a place of balance, should always be a place of love and positivity. If not for others, do it for yourself first, and then you'll see that what you give is what you receive, and that's what's going to be around you in the surrounding areas is going to be love, and it's going to be high vibrational frequencies for the most part, right? Because life is a challenge. So for the most part, it's going to be that. Going back to the concept of Ma'at and the Kemetic principles, when Ma'at has her scale, and when it comes to Judgment Day, which is what Christianity stole, and they called it Judgment Day and all that stuff, but there's an event that occurs where, you know, when you pass away, Ma'at is a scale, and she's going to weigh your heart, and she's going to match it up with a feather. And if your heart is not as light as a feather, then, you know, that means that you just didn't do what it was that you were meant to do inside of this physical realm. So you cannot go to rest. And going to rest meaning that you're not coming back, and you're going home. When you're going to rest, you're going home. Excuse me, I said rest or west. When you're going to west, you're going home, because the sun rises in the east and it goes to rest on the west. So when you're going to west, you're going home, and home is the nothingness. Home is the state of consciousness. Home is the spirituality. Home is the 0. Home is the neutralizing fact. But you cannot go into nothingness if you have all this physical heavy attachments, right? Because the heart has to deal with your attachments. It has to deal with the things that you're holding on to, the pain, the agony, anything that's going to make you heavy. Even just regular attachments that you're holding on to. Oh, I didn't say sorry to Susie, and I really hurt her, or whatever it is, right? So basically, it's important to understand that the food that you eat has to be light as well. And I explain all of this because I can't just simply just explain it without adding all these other contexts into it. The food that you eat has to be light as well. So you're eating food that is lighter in weight, you're eating food that is lighter in frequency, and you're also going to be eating less food. All of this is going to make it so that you're capable of focusing your attention, so that you are not being overworked, so that you don't have a bunch of your focus being put into other parts of your body. That's why if you eat a lot of food, even if it's high vibrational food, if you eat a lot of food, at a certain point you might start to feel lethargic, just because of the fact that now your body's like, hold on, let me chill so I can process this food, because you can only take so much in at once, right? And your bodily functions, like your digestive system, is only supposed to take so much food in at once. So it's important to note that eating less plays a big factor into this. Some of you guys who may have been watching my channel may have seen that I did go on an 8-day fast, and for me that was a big deal, because fasting was something that I felt was going to be very hard. It's going to be very difficult. I had already gone vegan, or I had already gone alkaline vegan, And overall, then I started eating more raw foods. I started looking at my water intake, getting the water from my fruits. Basically, everything that I talked about in my fasting video that I'm going to put over here, where I talk about the cell renewal and all that stuff that, you know, I learned before going on the fast, and that I also was able to experience and see for myself during the fast. And another thing that I was able to understand during the fast is that eating actually affects your level of focus and your level of attention. It really does. The less you eat, the lighter you are, the more lightweight you are. The more lightweight your cells are, the more lightweight your blood is, the more pure you are. Because you want to be at a state of purity in order to meditate. You want to be at a state of purity and as close as you can get to a state of, sorry, I got a little scared. I thought there was like some kind of animal. All right, it's just a squirrel. And you want to be at a state where you can get as close as you can get to nothingness, right? Nobody's perfect. But in order to do that, it really is going to require for you to eat less. So if you can go on a fast, I highly recommend people going on a fast, even if it's just a 3-day fast. Make sure you look at Dr. Lilia Africa's videos on YouTube, or get his books. I did talk about him a lot because he was one of the people that really influenced me and really just gave me so much wisdom and so much knowledge. It's not even funny. But yeah, because there's a certain way you're supposed to prep for a fast and come out of your fast as well, because it's like a cycle. It is a death and a rebirth process, you know, and it has to be done in a certain way. So make sure that you guys are careful when you're fasting as well, and your water intake. All these things are very important. So nonetheless, I can sit here and explain all day all the different things and all the different reasons as to why eating less is important and eating light is important. But the best thing that I can say that's going to help you is for you to try and do this on your own. Go ahead and try to do a day fast. Go ahead and try to do a 3-day fast or intermittently fast. Start eating once a day. Start eating after a certain time of the day. Don't eat first thing in the morning. Your liver doesn't really want to be processing all that food, because the physical is very important, and holistically it is a part of everything. So the way our physical body works impacts our spiritual and our emotional body, right? If our emotions are out of whack and not in balance or low vibrational, then it will show up inside of our physical form, inside of our body. And the same thing vice versa. If we're putting matter inside of our body that is not good, then that's also going to show up inside of the emotional. So there is a duality there where these two things are receptive towards one another, because it works holistically. It's like an onion, and there's all these multiple different layers of the onion, but it's still holistically an onion. So it's important to really try to do this for yourself, you know, and try to do intermittently fasting. Try to eat, don't eat breakfast. Just try to eat after a certain amount of time, because of the way the body functions. The liver does not want to do all that as soon as it wakes up from resting. It wants to chill. It's got other things to do. You know what I mean? There's only so much energy and only so much exercising that these different organs are supposed to be doing. Some of these organs are automatic organs, automatic bodily functions, and others, ones of them, we have to turn them on. Like the lymphatic system, we have to get moving. You know, we have to sometimes sweat it out, you know, and the heart, that's automatic. It's going to always beat. Breathing is automatic. It's going to always breathe. The brain function, that's automatic. We're always going to be thinking. And if we're not thinking, then we're not conscious, right? Not consciousness, but conscious. Okay, because the two could get mixed up sometimes. So overall, I don't want to make this video too lengthy because it will just sound like I'm saying the same things over and over again. But at the end of the day, eating less, eating light is going to directly impact your ability to center yourself. And when you are at a higher vibrational frequency because of the foods that you're eating, then you are able to also really bounce back energetically, bounce back positively, bounce back with so much power from negative experiences. It's not to say that it's not going to hurt or it's not going to be difficult or hard. It's just going to say that you are going to have it within yourself because you're looking at your glass from a place of half full as opposed to half empty. And when you do these challenges, like going for a fast after doing your own research and after doing it the right way, when you do these things like changing your diet to foods that are more fruits and vegetables that are higher in water content, then you'll be able to experience this change on your own and see what I'm talking about. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, this all is a requirement for you to be able to really tap into your ability to know what your center feels like and know what the real you feels like. And throughout life, that may always change because you're going to always be evolving. And I also want to say this because I noticed this a lot, and I've been saying this for a long time. But I don't think I've ever said this on my channel. When it comes to going plant-based and eating healthier, there's so much talk about going plant-based and eating healthier because people want to live up to 200 years and they want to live up to 100 years and they want to live so long. And it's like, that's great and all, but death can come to you at any given time. When it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So it's important to look at the other benefits towards eating light, towards eating less, other than just how it's going to impact you from a longevity standpoint, from how long you're going to live, right? That's beautiful. But at the same time, look into the fact that it's going to increase your level of awareness to tap into love for yourself and love for others, to tap into your ability to keep moving because you have that driving force of the sun. You have that driving force of electricity, fueling your cells, fueling your blood, fueling the makeup of your body. And that in return is going to make it so that you have the driving force to continue to evolve because you're melanin. So you're evolutionary. You're going to always evolve and you're immortal. You're going to last forever. You get what I'm saying? I hope you guys get what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it. Maybe I'll make a part 2. Maybe I'll talk about this another time. But for now, thank you so much for tuning into this video. And you guys make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Check out my links inside the description box below, where you can see my website, where you can schedule a personal reading with me. And you can also check out my different products that I have on sale, like my handmade jewelry and all of those other things. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you inside the next video. Bye bye.